Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. I'm going to do something a little different this time. As I mentioned in my last video, I haven't been buying a lot of vinyl lately. Just money issues, you know. I don't really have the money to be spending on vinyl right now. So I decided to do a What's Spinning. You know, Scott's done a bunch of these. They're really cool. A really cool way of introducing everybody to some new music. And then just reminding you of some classics that are out there. So I've been on a real power metal kick lately, which is, you know, you can hear in the background. And actually, one of the CDs I'm going to show kind of kicked off the power metal kick. So I wanted to share a couple of these with you because there's a few of these that I'm sure most of you have never seen before. Actually, before we get started, though, I want to begin by thanking everybody, thanking all my subscribers. I hit 400 subs about a week ago. The last couple of videos I've done, I've forgotten to bring that up, and just thank you guys and gals who have subscribed to me and who have made this the whole VC journey so much fun for me. So, first, in the background, you guys have seen me show this album probably a dozen times. I've talked about it non-stop. It was one of my favorite albums of last year. It's one of my favorite albums of probably the last 10 years or so. But this is Unleash the Fire from Riot. For those of you that are familiar with early Riot, you know, they progressed quite a bit over the course of their career. Obviously starting off with that 70s hard rock sound that carried them into the early 80s, moving to the straight heavy metal sound, and then 88, 89 time frame they moved into the power metal or speed metal arena, and they've kind of stuck there ever since, as you can hear in the background. Absolutely fantastic album. It's getting really hard to get on vinyl. They did a real limited run. I can't remember off the top of my head how many they did, but I want to say it was only like 250 or 500, right around there. And they all came with the CD, which is actually what we're listening to right now. But let's just kind of jump into it. Again, I highly recommend that one. Definitely pick that one up. So we're going to start off with just some power metal classics. This is one of the top, one of the best power metal bands out there. I don't hear their name enough in the VC, and it's really surprising to me. You know, I hear or I see Halloween all the time, but I never hear about Gamma Ray. And the CDs I'm going to show after these two is what kind of kicked off this power metal kick that I've been on. And about 2 days ago, I went through my CDs and pulled these two out. The first one is the Heaven Can Wait EP. As you can see right there, made in West Germany. There's a number of different versions of this. So you've got the Heaven Can Wait single, which was available on 7-inch and 12-inch, which only had Heaven Can Wait and the B-side Mr. Outlaw. Mr. Outlaw, awesome song if you haven't heard that. That's actually my favorite song on here. But then in Germany and Japan, I believe, they released this 5-song EP. Just a really killer EP. If you can find it, I definitely recommend grabbing it. I believe in the US they did do a 12-inch of the EP with all 5 songs, but don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure this was never released on CD in the US. And I just happened across it in a used store for, I think I paid $1 for it. I was blown away to find it for that. But just 5 killer songs. And then next up is one of my favorite Gamma Ray albums. This is kind of my go-to album for them. They still have that Halloween sound, but Kai Hansen's kind of starting to evolve the sound a little bit, and you're starting to hear a little bit of his sound on top of that. So this is Insanity and Genius. And this one came out in '93. This was their the third Gamma Ray album. This, I guess you could say, is technically the second. I believe this was the EP between their first and second album. This one came out in 1990. Both just classic power metal albums. Definitely worth having in your collection. Next up is the album that kind of kicked this all off. This band just never got that big, especially here in the U.S. However, they were a huge, huge band in Japan. Excuse me. Get this real quick, sorry. And that's Heaven's Gate. This, just an amazing, amazing power metal band. This one's Japanese pressing. Here's an obi for it. If you find any of their albums, grab them. They're hard to find. They don't pop up that often. The Japanese ones are even harder to find, and they go for, I mean, I think this one goes for $20, $30. I was lucky to run across this for about $6, and I couldn't grab it fast enough. You know, from watching like the Anvil documentary and stuff, and just different documentaries, and I'm sure most of you are aware that heavy metal is huge in Japan. It still is to this day. When metal kind of died down everywhere else, especially here in the U.S., it just kept going in Japan. And this band was huge. Power metal is pretty high up there. Halloween is one of the more popular bands in Japan. Hammerfall, hugely popular in Japan. Heaven's Gate, hugely popular. I think if these guys would have came out 3 years earlier, they would have been just as big here in the U.S. But I believe their first album was in 90 or 91, and by that time the U.S. had already moved into grunge, and unfortunately Heaven's Gate got passed up. Again, the only reason I was even aware of who this was because I lived in Japan for 9 years. Killer album though. Like I said, if you run across any, and this is one of those bands I'd recommend actually seeking out. This album's a really killer live set. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and listen to a clip. There you go. Next up, this next one was a blind buy. I was pretty sure it was power metal when I opened it up and saw who the producer was, which we'll get to in just a second. But this is Northern Rage from Storm Warrior. This is definitely power metal, but it also fits into that Viking metal genre. What I thought was kind of cool about this one, first off, it's produced by Kai Hansen, and I don't know if he goes by Kai or K, whatever. But Kai Hansen from Halloween and from Gamma Ray. So I forgot to mention, Heaven's Gate's a German band. Obviously, Gamma Ray is, and so is Storm Warrior here. One of the cool things I found in here is. Each of these are Viking stories, and they base them on Viking history. And what's cool is, along with the lyrics, which are the lyrics are really well written on their album. But there's also a little story here for each one of the songs, explaining the mythology or the history behind each of them, and I thought that was really cool. It just added a little bit more to it. This one is straightforward, just straight up power metal. It's not great power metal. It's just really good. If you run across it, I would definitely grab it if you're into Viking metal. Definitely worth picking up. But it was really cool. They have 5 or 6 albums. If I run across any others, I'll grab them. Kai Hansen does play on Welcome My Right. I know for sure. I think there was one other song too. This is the U.S. version of the album. I can't find any information on this particular pressing. However, the German pressing of it has 3 or 4 additional songs on a second CD. One of those being an Ozzy Osbourne cover. So, and that's relatively new. This is from 2004. So, and this last one. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's go ahead and do a clip of Storm Warrior. Let you check that one out. And then, excuse me, as I was saying last, but definitely not least, is this one. This one was another blind buy. I pulled it up on the band's name up on the phone, and it listed them as a Spanish power metal band, so I went ahead and grabbed it. And let me tell you, I was completely blown away by this album. Beginning to end is amazing. This is Fight to the End from Baldemar. I don't know if you can see that. And this one is also a Japanese pressing. So I looked up all the other pressings. There's only about 3 pressings of this. And this is the only one that has this. This one has 2 demo songs at the end. And then 1 additional song. Again, these are only available through the Japanese pressing. But man, this album is a beast. The vocals are spot on. The musicianship is amazing. This thing is filled with neoclassical solos, but it's not over the top stuff, man. It fits the music beautifully. I can't get enough of this album. This will probably go on right after I am done listening to Riot here. Just amazing from beginning to end. If you can find this, grab it. If you like power metal, grab this album. Another relatively new one that came out in 2002. Like I said, it head blown, mind blown, whatever. Kick-ass album. So let's go ahead and check out a little bit of it. That's it, VC. Tell me what you thought. Tell me if you dug if you dig the What's Spinning format. There's a couple more that I want to do. I want to do a Christian metal one. I know Scott's done a couple, and I want to do a couple, or at least one as well. Just going over some favorite albums of mine that I've been listening to quite a bit. I also want to do an Iron Maiden. What's Spinning. You know, everybody covers the 80s era Maiden, but there are some songs and some albums from the second half of their career that are worth talking about, and I kind of want to get into that. And then I'm going to do a part 2 of the Revisiting the 90s series. That was a lot of fun. There's a couple of those death metal albums that I pulled back out and have been listening to, and I want to share that as well. So again, leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about these bands. Like I said, the real standout here, Gamma Ray is just classic. Gamma Ray is easy to find. If you run across it, grab it. I should say easy to find, but it's not extremely difficult to run across. But Heaven's Gate, highly recommend. And also the Baldemar. The Baldemar is amazing. They have 4 albums total, 3 more after this one, and I'll definitely be looking for those real soon here. So that's it, VC. Take care, and again, I hope you enjoyed this.